Welcome to the quadratic formula and the discriminant. Truthfully, this is one of my favorite lessons. And if you are a person who says, I need to learn by singing, I need music, I learn better that way, come and talk to me. We'll have a fabulous conversation. It'll be great. But regardless, let's get your name on your paper so that you never lose your work. And I don't lose your work either, you know. All right, so this monstrous beast, this is the quadratic formula. Dun, dun, dun. And a lot of people say, I cannot memorize that. And I say, okay, well, you don't have to. This is on your state given formula chart. It is. So for me, to be able to use it, I need it written down so I can reference it. I frequently sing it while I fill it in. And this becomes a practice of filling in the blanks is what it is. Just there's a lot of blanks. And then your calculator is going to help you out a lot. Okay? So we are going to look at this. And remember, you have a standard form. That these A, B, and C's are coming from, and that is your ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0, and it's this A, B, and C that we fill in again and again. Now, I am going to make a quick adjustment, this b squared, and it's always written like this, but for your own correctness as you work through the problem, it is so important that you use parentheses right there. It's not an always make or break moment, but when the time is right, it is the make or break moment. Also, remembering that a letter and a number or a letter and a letter side by side, these are multiplying. And this 2a at the bottom, this is also multiplying, okay? So let's go look at problem number 1 together and see how to do this. So in problem number 1, we have an A, B, and a C. So A equals -7, B equals 2, C equals 9. And we are now going to very carefully fill in the quadratic formula equation. So x equals minus b. What is the value of b? It's 2. Plus or minus the square root, big old long square root, parentheses, b squared minus 4 times a. What is a? -7 times c. What is c? 9. So my square root wasn't even long enough. All over 2 times a. What was a? -7. Woo! Filling in the blanks. So everything that's there that's in brown, that came directly from the equation, the formula with no adjustments. Everything that's in blue, that came from our fill in the blank. Okay? So now, what we're going to do is we're going to take everything that's inside of this square root, the guts. We're going to take the guts and put that directly into your calculator, exactly how it is. There is no need to try and work that out by hand. I mean, you can, it's just not necessary. So here in your calculator, so I've got add a calculator. Let's type in the guts. You do not need the square root around it at this moment. Okay? So parentheses, 2, close your parentheses, squared, minus 4, parentheses, -7. Make sure that was a negative and not a subtract. Close your parentheses, open your parentheses, 9, close your parentheses, enter. Man, 256. That is something huge. Okay? Okay. So this is now what goes inside of the guts, inside of the square root. This 256 came from all of the guts. I'm glad we didn't have to work that out by hand. -2 plus or minus the square root of 256 all over -14, because 2 times -7 is -14. So I really need you to be careful with your spacing and your handwriting and keeping things neat and tidy. So now we're going to address this square root thing. The reason we didn't before is because it's going to be important for something else that we do later on in the lesson. So back to your calculator, the square root, control x squared, 256, 16, that sure was nice, 16. So plus and minus 16 all over -14. Now, here is another moment when your calculator is really a great friend to have around. So we have this plus and the minus. And it's just nice to have it so that if we're not feeling confident in our positives and negatives, what to do, it'll be okay. So I've put this squiggly pink line here just to help section off space, and I'm not having work bleed into one part or another that it doesn't belong in. So we're going to do this 2 times. I have to deal with the plus and the minus. So -2 plus 16 divided by -14. Let's go use your calculator. It's your friend. So remember, if you push control and then divide, a fraction will show up. Oh yeah. So -2 plus 16, arrow down, -14. Enter. Did you get -1? Sweet, then you did this right. That is one of your x-intercepts. That is one of your roots. Nice. So now we're going to real quick go and do this again for the minus. We did the plus, now we're going to do the minus. -2 minus 16 divided by -14. Again, let's go grab your calculator to help you out and be your friend. Control divide so we can see the fraction. -2 minus 16, arrow down, -14. So really you got to be careful with your negatives and your subtractings. This is where it matters which one you use. So please be mindful of that. So when you push enter, you get a fraction, and that's okay. 9/7. And that's a real location. It's between 1 and 2, closer to 1, but between them. And those are your two locations where your graph crosses the x-intercept. Awesome. So that was a lot to take in. That was some stuff. Let's go try it again with problem number 2 right beside it, okay? So here, my equation is not equal to 0, and I need it to be equal to 0. So let's go make this equal to 0 by subtracting 8 on both sides. And I get 2n squared minus 6n minus 8 equals 0. All right? So let's go find a, b, and c. A equals 2. B equals -6, and C equals -8. Awesome. All right. This is the careful. We're going to very carefully fill in the blanks. Here we go. Start over here. So x equals minus b. What was b? -6. Oh yeah, I got both of them, don't I? Plus and minus the square root of b squared. And we said that b really needs to be in parentheses. That's a big deal right here. That is a make or break. If you don't have these parentheses, the problem is over. You've messed it up. Minus 4 times A and times C. All over 2 times A. There it is. We have filled in the blanks. Good. So your calculator is going to be your friend again. We're going to take all of the guts. All of this is going to go into your calculator because we are really not trying to do that by hand today. We could. I'm not trying to. X equals. Hey, what's a minus and a minus side by side? Yeah, it's a +6. Plus and minus the square root of something. Let's go find out what the something is. All right, so we've got parentheses, -6, close your parentheses, squared, minus 4, parentheses, 2, close your parentheses, open your parentheses, -8, close your parentheses, push enter. Aha, did you get 100? Nice, very nice. 100. All over 2 times 2? Yeah, that's 4. Okay. All right, big brain on you. What is the square root of 100? Yep, it's 10. 6 plus and minus 10 over 4. Great. So now you get to use your calculator again to help you out. We have to address the plus, and then we'll go and address the minus. So we've got 6 plus 10 divided by 4. Calculator. So what do we push to get the fraction? Do you remember? Control divide. That's right. Isn't that nice how that fraction shows up? 6 plus 10. Arrow down. Put in your 4. Push enter. What do you get? Did you get 4? I hope so. Good job. All right, let's go do it again for the minus. So 6 minus 10 divided by 4. Calculator friend. Control divide. 6 minus 10. Arrow down. Divide by 4. Enter. What did you get? Did you get a -1? That's super. Okay, so why do we even want to do this? We have factored, completed the square, solved for x, graphed, and now I've got the quadratic formula. It's 5 different ways to solve for the same information. Some of them are faster, some of them are slower. Some of them always work, some of them only work some of the time. So factoring, I would say, is your fastest. You just got to know your multiplication facts. But it doesn't always work. Quadratic formula always works, always. But I think truthfully it's your slowest. So it's finding the balance and what time do you have to get things done. All right? But it's okay. So I want you to pause the video. I want you to try number 3 and number 4, and if you get stuck, come and talk to me.